Wow, look at all of those people. Just now, that's our problem right there. Wow. Wow. How are we gonna fix that? That is, yeah. I'm hoping that this does the trick. Hello, welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are building the city of Verde Beach. And in the previous episode, we worked on addressing some of the issues we have with transit service, and today we're going to continue. The previous episode, we looked at bus service, and we tried to reconstruct some routes to make them make a little bit more sense and not overcrowd. But we've got some significant problems here. So if we take a look at what's happening here, so we have 752 passengers served a week at the Metropolitan Airport, and most of those, if we take a look, are actually going to be in our transit menu under Metro. So just looking here, let's move this out of the way. Look at all of the people queuing on this line. So this is the Airport Sunset Line East. And when we look, we can see that there are a number of stops that are overcrowding. So right here, this is the airport. We've got 1,000 people waiting. Right here, this is Highland Hills stop. We've got, a couple hundred people there. 400 here at Verde Hills. And we're just got a whole bunch of vehicles backing up. And what this, to me, this is emblematic of a couple of things. Number one, the Metro in this game doesn't provide the number of passengers per vehicle that you might expect. So in fact, this is 150 per vehicle. When we look at the monorail, let's take a look at that. Monorail's giving 180 per vehicle, and Metro's giving 150. So pushing everyone over to monorail would be better than having them on the Metro. And even better than monorail would be trains. So when we come over here and we look at one of our train lines, we didn't name these, so we're gonna have to go through that. So train line 2, 240. So that's 90 passengers more per vehicle. So what this means to me, and I've left the day-night cycle on. I think that it'll be fun to keep that on today. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna not get distracted. We'll have to come in. We've got to spend some time in Verde Beach. We spent a lot of time over in the Pink Beyond. We're gonna spend some time over in Verde Beach. And part of it is prepping to make sure that we are ready when the airport DLC comes out, because I want to know in the comments, leave a comment. Should I add on to Mulligan International Airport, completely reconstruct this thing, blow it out, make it bigger, and add another airport? Or should I find another place in the region? We're running out of space, but my guess is we would place it somewhere around here. Now there are things over here like this ruins, and I know that, I think it was Brock in the Discord has been asking a lot to do something with this. And you know what? I agree. I think that this could be a park. So the airport there might change that calculation a little bit. And there was going to be something up here at some point. I have ideas. I haven't really talked about them, but I was thinking more of a residential type area. And then over here, this whole island's reserved. So we're not going to put it there. So no. So let me know in the comments. What are you thinking about that? What do you think? So what we're going to do to start out is we're going to look at a place to add in rail here. And then we're going to try to shift some of the Metro away from here and try to think about our heavier capacity transit and make them a little bit more logical, because right now they don't make sense. I'll just put it out there. It's been added on to and added on to and added on to, and it works, but it could be a ton better, and we're going to do it. So first of all, let's start out, and I will be upfront with you. I spent a lot of time looking at the different options over here for adding rail service. And the rail service, I think is going to be the easiest to add. The least disruptive is going to be this passenger station that just came with the vanilla game. So I looked at the hubs. There are hubs that are great. So we have a monorail train hub, and I can show you why I don't love this. I'll just place it over here for a second. So there are 2 lines here for both train and monorail. That's just overkill for an end of the line. So we're not going to do that. The next thing that we could look at are some of the content creator pack assets. And I actually got one of them working, but I guess working is being generous. So I looked at the ground bypass station. This is one that would fit right about here. And then we'd have to reconstruct this. All of a sudden you start to realize that we're redoing the entire island, and we might be redoing it again. So Not what we want to do. I think it's not really all that reasonable to use eminent domain on literally all of these buildings and all of these to reconstruct it and have it function kind of oddly. So we are going to use some eminent domain. So right here, pause it for a second. Everything here is gone. And we are going to reconstruct some of this. So let's put our passenger rail station in. We're going to actually need to take out part of this road and think about the location of some of our we have a firehouse here. That's going to be relocated here. I don't love this. I'm going to temporarily move this. And we're going to come back to that. And it's probably going to be a little more than temporary. We're going to need to figure out exactly where we're going to put these things, but they can't go here anymore because we're going to need some space to sink these into the ground. We could, there's where we go. So the height of realism, oh no, 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 no. So it'll work for the police station, the fire department, but not the medical clinic. I'm going to temporarily put that there as I try to think about the best way to approach this. So I'm really concerned this road has to go, and I don't love putting all of these vehicles on what is really an important road through this facility, but we're space constrained at this point, so we're gonna do it. And then I'm gonna drop this down and stretch this out as far as I can go. And then we're gonna see if there's enough room to put this medical clinic back. There is, there we go. So that's a solution. I have a feeling that there are going to be some folks that maybe don't like this, and I might be one of those people, but I think it's going to work well. So we've got our train station there. It's going to go underground. Now, where does this go? You might wonder. And I'm thinking we're going to run a parallel tunnel up here. We're going to get rid of this tunnel. This tunnel, we're going to say it was repurposed. Obviously, the game's not going to allow us to do that, but that would be what I would see as the logical thing to do. Before we get too heavy into that, I want to go through here and eliminate these stops. So if I don't get rid of these are going to be broken. So we'll just cut those off. Now the way to fix these, if we come over here, you see that we've got these two, and I used to think that that's broken forever, but all you got to do is get rid of one and then it fixes it. And the yellow line skipped way past that. I think it broke the entire line, which is fine. We're going to do something different there. Oh, actually it's right here. So we'll just fix that right there. So we're going to do something different entirely there. So I'm going to bring this back and we're going to actually end it right here on Sunset. So the purpose of this now will be to have a secondary service going up and down Sunset. It's not going to be the airport serving service that it was. So if you want to get somewhere on Sunset from the airport, you'll use the monorail. If you want to get somewhere on Sunset and you're a local resident, you'll use the subway. And if you want to get to downtown from the airport using transit, you're going to use the train. So what we're going to do is there's a train here that just kind of ends. And we're going to pick right up here. Oh, and I'm screwing up. So that is actually a metro. So what we're going to do is follow this train. And it looks like it comes here. So that actually, for where that underground metro was, it would have made a lot of sense to repurpose that tunnel if at all possible. So we're going to branch off here and then send this straight down. And I want it to follow this corridor that we have here. We don't want to expand into any other right of way if we can avoid it. Oh, that is really tight. So we're going to need to do a little bit here. Granted, this is at the start of the route, so it's not the end of the world. But I do think we're going to want to back this up just a bit. There. So now we've got a nice connection here. A little bit of a jog around that corner, not a big deal. And then they come around here. I'd love to clean this up in the vanilla game. It's not going to be easy. Let me see what I can do. I will try to make this connection a little bit nicer. I think that's a little bit better. And then this will come around here. Someone could get off here in Verde Hills. And this route goes directly to Union Station downtown, the Central Station. So this should be very fast, very high capacity. Now, what do we do with all the metro here? Well, let's think about that too. So I want this to be a strictly tourism-based service. So what we're going to do is look at these routes here. So let's make sure that we have all of our metros activated. So we've got all of those there. And right now we've got this yellow line. It's coming around, looping around, coming here, and then meeting up at the party line, the blue line back there. We're not going to do that. In fact, we are going to dock this line's going to change, and it's going to go all the way to the airport. So, and we're going to have a limited stop service that stops at just a couple of places. Okay, so let's cut this off. We're going to meet up with this, and it's going to give me issues, most likely. So this is one of those things where if I click from there, it sends me underground. If I go underground and try to use a road guideline, I might be able to make it work. There I go. All right, so now I'm underground, and I'm going to send this through at the beach. Now I want to get this all the way over here, so we are going to try to make this as logical and quick as it can be, and then get it back close to land, because it would be a lot easier to trench on land and then fill it back in than it would be to trench on the ocean floor. I probably went longer than I should have, truthfully, but this will be fine. And now I need to make my final junction here. We'll use the curved road tool, find that guideline. Nice, smooth connection. So very few stops here, but I still don't think this will be as popular as the train, and that's because of speed. So all of that said, we're going to send this through. Rather than hopping on and connecting with this line, we are going to have a service. I want to rethink about all of these. So that means that we've got to go through here and eliminate some of these stops, otherwise we'll get stuck. We've got this green one still over here. Okay, just had to go through and make sure I turned that one off. So what we're going to do now is take this line. You see, we've got the same sort of issue where it doesn't want to connect up nicely with us. We'll use our curved road tool. Hopefully I got this one far enough back that we can... I didn't. We'll take this back a little bit more. Ooh, it does not like this. So I raised that up as high as it could go so I could make the junction. So now this is a through movement here. And the real question is, where do we want this to end? And I think that this new route ends right here. So you can stop here, you can stop at the Hamilton Experience, and you can stop in the middle of Fire Beach. If you want to get over here, maybe this is a different route. Maybe, actually, we should extend it all the way up to here, because that's kind of the end of the tourism experience in the city. So I'm going to look at these routes. Whew, there's a lot of change, So this green route, we'll remove a stop just so we can play with it a bit. We'll take this stop way over here. Boom. So this was called, we'll try to control this a little bit. This was Airport Sunset West Line. So we're just going to call this Airport Hamilton at this point, because it'll take you from airport to Hamilton. We will add some stops here. One there, and then we'll come over here. We'll make sure that we have our stops here. And then we do want to pull this a bit further. Now that yellow line is broken. I believe that's what's broken. So we'll need to take a look at that. I also want to take a look at our train. So we have our trains. We just worked on those. I want to get everything in a working place now, and then we will, we'll start running things and operating on the fly. So I believe this is line 2. So we're going to name this the airport line. Actually, it'll be the Mulligan line. We'll make it red. Actually, we'll make it pink. There we go. And the Mulligan line, we're going to take that stop. We're going to move this all the way out to the airport. And then we'll come over here, add a stop here, add a stop there. So now you could get off and on. And now you'd be able to transfer quickly to the party line if you wanted to go north. There is no way to get south from here. So if you were heading south, you'd probably take the metro. Unless we were to add something. And that is, this could be a better stop there, because it's not too bad. Maybe that's good enough. You could take the party line to here. Let's take a look at metro routes. So you would be able to take, oh, this is a green line. This is an individual line. That's just kind of, yeah, we're going to need to get rid of that one. I don't know the purpose of that line anymore. So let's see. This is the dark green, Verde Hills. So let's just eliminate Verde Hills. So this line already, if we take a look, has very low ridership. It pings back and forth. It doesn't really do anything. So we'll get rid of that. We're going to take the party line and stretch that out to here. There we go. And then we'll have one there and one here. So I'd love to move this green line down, and it's not going to let me. But I want to show you something that I learned. So let's say I want to get this one on the bottom line, so that there's minimal interruption. If I pull this down further, I can set one of my stops to be down there and one up here. And now I can come over here and close it there. And now I've got two options, and I'm going to remove that one, and now look where it located, right at the bottom. So the game doesn't want to do that normally, but I just kind of played with it and fudged it, and now it works. So this is the Vine Street line, and I think this is just fine. So I don't like what it's doing here as well. You see that rather than being at the bottom, we're crossing. I'd love to move this here and get this on the bottom. So we're going to do the same thing. We'll pull it down to Central Station, pull one down, have a stop up top, eliminate it down there, and then eliminate it right there. Now there's no crossing. That is a very clean transfer. So that to me makes a ton of sense. I think this one could be better. So that is very sharp, but it should work. I'm going to start running it again and see, maybe I can clean up the party line as well. This is the height of realism right here. as we're just cleaning up underground stations. But I think it's important. So this will now, I mean, that's an insane turn. That's not ever going to happen in a million years. Let's try to clean that up a little bit if we can. That's still very sharp, but I think it's a bit more manageable. But now they're not going to cross at all, which should minimize backups. There's nothing between these two that should cause any problems. So that's perfect. And once this cleans up, it should be nice. So we now have our train going through here. We've got the party line going all the way down here. We've closed off this yellow line. I think that we have some issues. Which line do we have issues on? So here's one. So we need to figure out where the college line's going to go. So I think it would be nice to have it in this sunken plaza. So what we're going to do, we'll close this off right there. And I'd really love for it to seem like there's a reason to have all of these underground stations, and we'll leave some above ground ones open for the future, or some of the upper level stations. So here's what I'll do. I'll pull down. It's not going to give me a guideline, but I can kind of guess. Oh, I did get a guideline. There we go. Now hopefully I can make the connection. There we go. So now that I've got that connection, I can remove one here, pull it back, and then add my stops there. So now I feel like that's a much stronger route as well. So we have this here, and I don't know what, it's the yellow line. I've got to remove at least one stop here. What is this yellow line doing? It's going all over the place. It's starting here. I think the party line should probably extend down to here, and we should really make this white line a bit more logical too. So we should have looked at this. We had about 7,200 here, 3,300. Let's just keep that in mind as we're proceeding through this. We should start to see the Mulligan line doing better. Holy cow. Still, look at that. We get that 1,200, 1,300. But we can crank this, and these should hold up a little better. I'm going to do that. I want to let this run for a minute to see what this does. Okay, I will fully admit we have a lot of passengers here, but if you take a look, we had over 1,000 people queuing here. Because this is a short, or it's not short, it's a long route, but it's on a train, so we got 12-kilometer route. It's going a long ways, but we have vehicles that can control this and work with this number of passengers, and we have a route that doesn't have any sort of interference with any other modes. So it's starting to keep up. We have a little bit of passing by, but it's starting to, I think probably in the next minute or two, it'll be better. Zero, we got to zero. All right, that is what I was hoping for. So that was my main goal. Now the airport is not the bottleneck. Over here, look at that, we're completely clear. I wonder what that line's doing. If we take a look at that green line over here, Airport Hamilton, 336 passengers. So that is a manageable number for this route. And most people are hopping on the train, the highest capacity transit. You see, they're just streaming. They're walking down here. This is probably going above and beyond. I kind of wish that I could have a train, or I wish that I had a metro here so that people could go below ground to get to this. I don't know if this is going to work. I test a lot of things out. I didn't test this. So we're going to just give it a shot. And then we'll call this one the airport circulator. Actually, airport train. And we only need one vehicle on here. That's fine. Let's go back and forth very quickly, and no one will use it apparently. I would. I mean, so I think we're going to have to wait until we see another plane touchdown. And I'm going to wonder if we're going to see all these people hopping down. You see them now? Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to take this. That's unfortunate, because I think in reality, there would be a lot of people with luggage that would want to hop on here and get to this, and then they just walk right over. But that's, I guess, in the game, it's not enough time savings to make it worthwhile. So it's just not going to do anything. Okay, well, I think I'm going to leave it because I want to give this some thought. And I want it to, at this point, I'm going to leave it as kind of a reminder to myself. No one's using it, but I'm going to get this. This is a goal of mine. We're going to get someone to use that airport train link. Stop that, no passengers. That just kills me. All right, well, no reason to dwell on it. Let's just take the budget down to 5%. Give them some of the dirtiest subways in the city. And it won't cost us much to have that link there. We've already built the tunnel. And if we take a look at this, look at that. 434 passengers. We're doing well. So we've got more work to do though, because we've got this line over here that we haven't fixed yet. And when we take a look, we're at 8,000 passengers a week now, even with our broken line. So there's no way to get to either Burning Palms, the zoo at all with the routes that we have. So this is that route that kind of does some things. I don't know that this route is valuable at all anymore. So let's take a look at this. We'll go back to our metro. This yellow line is the Verde Beach Express. It's not really an express anymore. Let's just get rid of it. So we're going to take the party line, and I want to extend this out just a bit further. Because if you're going to party, you don't want to just go to the club. You want to go to the Gombe district too. You can go to hit up a sporting event and go to the club. Go to Duck Club, C50. And this again is on the wrong side. So we are going to fudge it again. Throw it there. Oh, didn't like that. Actually, I don't really care that this white line is going there. We're going to figure something out. I really have always disliked this movement, so we're going to get rid of that. I'm okay with them sharing this line right here, but we're going to figure something else out. The other thing I'm concerned about is I think that the college line is really overdoing it at this point. So we're gonna take a look at that. But we've got In the Club coming here, we've got Lewis Market coming over here, and then we've got this one coming over the top. Nothing is serving to go through, and I don't know that I want anything. We're gonna have a route, I think, that goes from Gombe, just the connector route, to the Goodall Institute for Conservation, and that it'll basically, the whole purpose of the route will be to act as a link between all those three routes without forcing people on those routes into a transfer sort of position on their particular route. So let's take a look. I'm going to take that train link, we'll make it black. And let's see, the Lewis Market District's doing fine. College line, oh my cow, 900, what is this? Fireside Commons has 900 trips going to it. So something is wrong with this line. Again, this probably would be a great place for train, but there are tons of transit alternatives there. I don't think we're going to be able to figure out where people are going using... Whoa. I'm in delete mode. I wish that I could click on this and figure out where everyone's going. I can see where people are coming from to get there, but I can't see where they're going. What I can do is look at the entire route and see that on this route, the busiest stops, Fireside Commons 1, number 2, Kings Hill, number 3 is right here at the Meadow District. And then, this one is a problem. So if someone wants to come here, maybe we should force a transfer, because there's really no connection to, power. What is going on with power? We're going to pause for a second. Oh, wow. Yeah, our consumption's way low, so we're going to need to do something. We're going to need to cover power soon, but I don't want to do it right now. So we're going to do two things. We're going to turn on the power utilization policy. We'll see what that does for us. So consumption is still a bit higher than production, and this is a night problem, so we'll come into our budget and just crank it at night. And we're way overproducing now at night, so that's good. We're in a much better spot there, so I can avoid that. In fact, I should probably turn it down. It's way too high. And that policy is very expensive. We are Gonna turn that off. I saw our budget just start to bleed as soon as we turn that policy on. So, and what does that policy do? 5 cents per building. We have a lot of buildings, so it makes sense that that's expensive. And our production is still, even with that, very high. So maybe we could just do something. I need to not freak out. 110 is probably enough. Yeah, we're doing just fine. It was just a little bit. And I'm wondering if it's that spike in between, night and day where it's really a struggle. But our budget's basically balanced now. So, all right, back to our subways. So we are going to take the College Line, and I think I want to end it at the Meadow District, and we can force a transfer there. So we'll cut this off, cut that off. There we go. And then we'll start a new line. There we go. Now this line, if you want to go further, you can. You don't have to. So that should be a great benefit there. So this line we will call, let's see, we have the Pyrotechnic. So we're going to name this the Burning Conservation Line. There we go. And they'll meet up in the Meadow District. And you see that, look at the number of vehicles here. We might need to adjust where this transfer is occurring. Truthfully, I'm starting to wonder if maybe this transfer should be occurring right at the Goodall Institute for Conservation, because we're going to have multiple opportunities to transfer. So let's get this line set up first. So this is that transfer line in between. This will be the party sunset. So the reason I want this line here is just to get people in between these two lines with a stop here. So I do think that we are going to take that transfer and move it. So I'm going to we'll stop this here, send that up there. So whoops, I stopped the white line. We're going to need to bring that back. I just broke a whole bunch of lines. Okay, so the white line is fixed. The pink line, the College Line is good. Our connector is good. And now we need to fix this line here. There we go. And now we need to fix some colors. So our connection line, Party Sunset, we'll make that a dark blue. And for the Burning Conservation, we've got to make that red. We'll make that a pink. There we go. All right. So to me, this makes a lot more sense. Now, if you're coming from Pyrotechnic, you can come over here, transfer, go anywhere you want. If, and it stinks that we basically turned the Pyrotechnic into a gigantic transfer facility, but I think it makes sense. The location, it's all these lines coming in together. So to me, that makes sense. One could make the argument that maybe the party line should just come here and this line should just come here as well. I'm worried that we're taking this line and making it too long. Same with party. You got to remember, party goes at this point all the way over here, and this is a significant stop. So it's important not to overdo that there. So let's take a look. I want to look at the routes that had the most passengers and see if we have any bunching. So the party line is still, or the College Line is still very busy. I can't increase the number of vehicles. So this just kind of needs to work. So part of this is going to be, there are old passengers there that, are trying to make it where they were going with the old routes. So you got to be a little patient about this. We're going to let this run for just a couple of minutes. I'm going to get another cup of coffee and I'll come back and see if this cleared up at all. Okay, so I have come back and I've noticed something that's a little disturbing to me, and that is that there's a lot of bunching right here. And we've got to do something about that. Now, I thought that this was going to be okay because these are separated. However, something is causing a problem. So I want to look at these vehicles. Where are they getting stopped? Looks like it's right here. There's just a whole grouping of them. That said, the numbers are getting better, and I'm just wondering if there are too many vehicles on this route, or if this angle is just too sharp. It looks like it's not that bad, but this other angle does certainly look better. We're going to clean this up just a bit. We'll see if that fixes anything. It certainly becomes a faster movement in there. And I don't believe that we have any overlap with these. There's none. So that should be, you kind of see it's making the movement quicker. But there's a lot going on here. So this red line is just packed. And part of it must be the transfers that are taking up some of this time. I'm not as worried about the college line. The number of passengers has dropped significantly, and it looks like we're in an okay spot now. In fact, I bet that we could drop this down to maybe 5 vehicles and get away with it. So the big issue here is the transferring at the pyrotechnic. I'd love to have a train here. It's just there's no way to get a train here. That's not going to happen. So if we were to put a train here, we're going to need to really tear up the zoo or the Goodall Institute, and that's just not okay. So we're going to need to make do with our metro here, and we'll take a look at the burning conservation line. So this one, again, oh boy. So we've got all of these issues here. Again, 1,000 passengers. We're going to crank this up to the top. I think that that'll work on this one because we've got a total of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stops. And it's really 1, 2, 3, 4 locations. And again, power issues at night. And it is that transition. We'll take it up to 125. Okay, yeah, there's like a moment in time where we have brownouts every day. It's the brownout time of day. And so hopefully we can figure that out. And we're just going to need another power plant very soon, but that very soon is not right now. So, all right, so this is our top transit number. I do want to take a look. Let's see. So we had 900 here. We're at least entering towards this stop right here with vehicles that have capacity available on them. And a lot of people are getting off here. So when we look at this, it's unfortunate that this white line is crossing over. That's probably not a huge deal. The blue line is a bigger concern. There's a lot of those. And the white line's a problem too. And I don't think, yeah, it's not going to let me move those unless I get creative. We're going to get creative. So we will move the white line over here. We'll have only our Lewis Market District line. We'll pull that up here, have a stop there, cut it right there, cut it right there. I beat you at your own game, City Skylines. Check and mate. All right, and I want to clear up the angle on this line as well. Maybe a little hasty with our previous work, and we can do better. Oh, I thought I had my curved road tool on, and it didn't quite do what I was hoping. Now, hopefully this works a little better. Slow down right around that corner. That's really sharp. That's really sharp. Let's fix both of these. Both of them are way too sharp. Yeah, and it really probably should be in that middle, but that's not where we have it. That dark line is really difficult to see. I'm going to turn that on. We'll lighten that up a bit. Maybe make it a light blue line. And I'd really like to have as few conflicts as possible with the burning conservation line. So we are going to take that line and do more fudging. So we'll put that over here. And then we'll have that be the only line that we can see. Pull it down. Get rid of that stop and get rid of this one. And now there's no conflict. So that should get people moving through here. So again, that's a little bit of a hacky workaround, but I think for the purposes of what we're doing, if we're not going to use a mod, that's probably as good as it gets for us. So now if we take a look at all of this, the trains coming through here, no overlap, except for that blue and white line. But that's okay. I think that's okay. Because at least we're not sending the Lewis Market line here and then backing it out and doing a bunch of crazy stuff. So I will live with that. Maybe that is the solution though. Maybe it is to continue to do that and send this line up here, but we'll see. Let's take a look at the lines again, and we're back to a manageable number. And I think this all comes down to excess vehicles. We're going to turn this down a little bit, bring this down to 5 vehicles as inexpensively as we can. And I think it could keep up. Now we're not crossing any lines, so this should be okay. And it's important to remember why this is such an important line. This line is basically serving all of Sterling Estates. So every single person out there is hopping on this subway, and that's why it's one of the busiest lines in the system, even though it's 4 kilometers long. So shoot, no, we're gonna need to keep it cranked all the way up to the top if we don't want a ton of passing. This is that one really important route for us. So yeah, that is, let's see, Pyrotechnic Sterling Estates is the busiest route. This one's maintaining. This one's okay. So this should probably be a train if we wanted to be super good about it, but it's holding up. So again, our consumption's peaking. As much as I wanted to keep the day-night cycle on, I think it's more problematic right now than helpful. We're going to need to address the power thing, but I don't want to kill the city in small waves in the meantime. So we're going to keep it during the day. And if we take a look, and now the city's happy. Now the city's happy. So we will solve that, just not yet. Okay, so interestingly, we've lost passengers. Now, part of this is just the rerouting that occurs in the game naturally. And, there's an ebb and a flow over time. So I'm not overly concerned. I'm really happy that we have one route that is seeing 600 and it's clearing. I'm going to go through each and every route now and make sure that we aren't in a place. We're going to organize it by passengers and make sure that we don't have any bunching. This is the one that we had cleared. And then I, in my stroke of genius, decided to lower the number of vehicles. This is actually going to increase the number of passengers once this clears. It's going to clear sooner or later. It's just kind of a tough route. It's short, lots of transfers, but it's working fine. So this will clear. We'll check up on this one right before we leave the episode, but I think that one is okay. Right here, way too many vehicles on the party line. You see that most of these are empty. We're going to cut this in half. So we had 9, we'll do 5. We'll do a cheap 5. And this will probably do the trick. I find it really curious that there's not more people on here, because this is actually the metro route out to the train, which takes you to the airport. So interesting. Then we have the Lewis Market District. We've got one stop that is overcrowded, and it's not one that it's a predictable stop. So we're going to crank it here. And I think to clear this, we're going to need at least 2 more vehicles. And this is just kind of going with my gut. When I look at the number of passengers there, it's really 2 stops that are overcrowded. Number 1, it's right in the middle of the Lewis Market District, and it's barely overcrowded. And then number 2 is over here at the university. Some of this, this is a system. So as one line backs up, it has a cascading effect all the way through the system. So all of these are starting to see backups now because of that one route that is not doing well. But we can see that just turning it up a little bit, and now we're starting to see that catch up just a bit. And I have speed slider here. I could be really cheesing it by cranking this. I don't know that it's really doing a lot though for me. It's fine, but maybe I'll do 115. Yeah, and it's doing okay. And I do think that someone could make a very logical, well thought out case to add another metro station across the street to further separate these lines, and maybe completely separate the Lewis Market District from the connector line, because you do see some of the backup occurring as these go over. Wow. Yeah, that's not super realistic what's happening here. I wish that there was a better way of doing this. With node controller, I bet you I could clean that up, but there's not much I can do in the vanilla game. I'm just glad it's working to keep the lines separate, even if they are flying around the corner and jumping off the track. And I guess what I could do, you see that I have much gentler entry points into this side. I could do the exact same thing over here. But we've cleared this one up. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. And now the Lewis Market District is one of our top lines, College Line. So we have multiple here. I didn't want to have to turn this one all the way up, but again, with the amount of congestion, these are all short routes now. They're kind of pinging back and forth. We're going to need to clear it up. I think once we clear some of these queues, maybe we'll be able to back things down, but we've got some really high utilization of our transit network, and that is partially because of our public transit policy. So we'll just crank that up. Now that this line's a little bit more legible, it should be okay. Let's see. I'm gonna let this go for a minute. We'll see if it clears. So this particular stop right here is just really problematic. And you see everyone jumping on right here. It makes me wonder where everyone wants to go. And I wish there was a better way for me to figure it out. Because if I click on here, it's just telling me that everyone's going here. So that's not helpful. This would be the sort of thing that, a transit planner would have an origin and destination survey, and they'd probably reach out to the passengers. They'd sit riding on the subway and try to figure out where everyone's trying to go. Because clearly we're not going somewhere. The other thing would be maybe we need to relieve some pressure on this. We've got this monorail heading down here, and there's no stop. So we're gonna add a stop here. And then we'll add a stop here. We'll see if that helps anything. Give people some more options. So we've got bus, metro. So someone could make an argument for a monorail. Let's see, do we have a monorail? Interesting. I thought we had a monorail train or monorail metro terminal, but it has train in there as well. So that's part of the issue. That's that asset we looked at earlier. And now these bus routes are broken. They don't like stopping there. So let's see if I can fix that. There. So people have options now. And you start to see that this stop does have some utilization. Let's look. This is the green route. It's the Keller House line. And it's keeping up. So this particular stop, let's click around, see where it is. Interesting. If we had another stop here, that would basically mirror that. So 39, it's absorbing some, not all. I wish it was easier too to click in between these. The college line, again, that's the 500 here. They're not going to change their route unless I delete this. So if I were to delete this station and then put it back, they'd all choose a different route. You know what? We're gonna go rogue just for a second. I want to force all these people to go somewhere else. That was actually overkill. I could have just deleted that particular part of the line. Not my finest moment there, but mistakes were made. So I'm wondering if I force everyone onto that. So I reset the pads there. I got rid of those stops, added them back in, and that sent a lot of people to other modes. And what I can see now, this should start to clear. So let's take a look at what's going on. The college line. I just want to see how quickly this inflates. So the 60 is where we were. You see there's a lot of demand here now. Keller House, but this can handle it. And we could increase the capacity on this line. So I would love it if we were completely filled up here. And you see that's the stop right there. So I think that's going to help. While we're over here, I am going to do just a couple of things. So this is one of those things I've been meaning to do on stream at some point. I just kind of go through and upgrade some of these, the self-leveling paths, and then go ahead and add some landscaping. And you see that we had the landscaping and now it develops. Clearly, I'm not the only one who likes landscaping. The developers love it too. All right, so this looks like it is completely changed the dynamic here. Let's look at it one more time. So right here, we've got a lot of stopping, but it's more or less holding up at this stop now. This is still a really heavy utilization line. We've got a lot of stopping right before we get here. I don't understand that, truthfully. Oh, shoot, I do. It is the Lewis Market District stopping it. All right, we have a new solution. We're gonna have to do something bigger, and that is, I wanna separate this. We're gonna force people to cross the street. I think that's a better solution than what we're doing now, because this isn't working. So what we're gonna do, we'll add that there. Let's add a pedestrian overpass. There's not a lot of traffic here. I think we're gonna skip it. We will see how it functions without it and add that if it's necessary. So no reason to over-engineer this for the sake of over-engineering. So let's go ahead. And I wanna see all the lines. I don't think we really have problems except for this white line connecting through. So what I'm gonna do is create a parallel path. And then I'm gonna go underneath and then connect. So here, we will send this around and make our connection. Now I've gotta move this stop, but now we should have no conflicts at all, except for the road. So I got all these people coming out. They've got to cross the road. I'm sure they're thrilled with me. They think that's absolutely genius. They're cursing out the planner. But here's the thing. If you don't have delay, then can you really be mad? Can you really be mad if you don't have delay? And that's what we're going to see. Look at that. That cleared so quickly. Everyone from the Lewis Market District, you've already been on a long metro ride. What's a little bit of crossing the street? Now, what we're going to do to resolve this, because I don't want to do the overpass, we're going to signalize this. And I don't care if the cars get stopped. You need to wait for pedestrians and bikes, cars. You're not the priority here. The peds are the priority. I wish that this was a push button actuator because that's what would really happen here, but it's fine. Wow, look at all those people. Oh, and the bus decides to plow through all those people. Okay, well, don't demonize the cars. Apparently, the transit drivers, the professional drivers, are the ones causing all the problems. Let's look at what's happening here now, because I do think our traffic flow is actually sunk from all of this, and part of that is everything happening here. The vanilla game just doesn't like you to set things up in a way that makes sense from a logical standpoint, which kills me. But we have increased our passengers by about 1,000. We look at our Lewis Market District line. We're looking pretty good there now. No backup. Completely fine there. Come back over. Want to take a look at our college line. No backup there. And that all of that has to do with those two lines butting up against each other, needing to wait for the other to unload passengers. So separating this here was a big help. So when we organize, let's see our most popular line, Lewis Market District, Pyrotechnic, that was fine. College Burning Line, that was fine. We should be good here. We have a couple of long routes. This is the Airport Hamilton. It's keeping up. That one is our new line coming from the airport. Yeah, we are in a good spot. I don't think when we look at some of these smaller lines, we're not going to see any problems. So I'm feeling good. I think, burning conservation. I spoke way too soon. Got 1,000 right here. 1,000. Okay, this is the wrong mode of transit for this area. That is about all that I can figure. Is you can see the backup every step of the way. We're gonna try one more thing. Feels like a very complicated puzzle that we haven't quite solved yet. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna back this up here. This will be where this one ends. And what we are gonna do is potentially controversial. We're gonna take this blue line. We'll send it right down the middle. So I know what I want it to do, and it's not letting me. So I'm hoping that I could back this out and then send it back, but it's not going to let me do that. We're going to stop this thing here and send this line all the way over, because this goes all the way to downtown now. And then I'm going to get rid of our connector. We'll just unload it. And we are going to send this line all the way up here. So I don't love this, but I'm hoping it works. So these will cross. So now we have a crossing movement in there. I don't love that, but I think it's pretty unavoidable, because I can move this one down here if I wanted to. Let's see, I can move one up. And I could take Airport Hamilton and bring it all the way down here. And now when we take a look, I guess there's a little bit less crossing, so that's a little bit better. So we have all of our backup here now. So this is a transfer facility. So from that perspective, it's a covered waiting area. That's great. I don't like this at all. So we've got this cranked. We just need to see if it's going to clear this queue. So I'm going to let this run for a minute and see if that does the trick. And I don't even need to wait to see that they're being forced to wait. So again, this is not ideal. So in an ideal world, I would add another terminal here and it would work just fine. We don't live in an ideal world. So what I can do is really get cheesy with this. And that's probably what I'm going to do. I don't love doing this, but here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to send this down. And we'll send this across. So I want to make a carve out specifically for this metro station. This in a million years would not happen. There's nothing, like, I think that there are solutions that you could come up with in the real world that the game is just not going to let you implement. So, it broke this. Bummer. We're going to need to fix that too. So there are solutions in the real world that you could take to figure this out. You just wouldn't have that waiting occurring. That's pretty unrealistic, but it is occurring in the game, and we're going to need to deal with it. So what I'm going to do is try to make enough space for a station. And for there to be enough space, I need it to be parallel. So what we're going to do is I'm going to line this up here. And now I've got enough space. In fact, I could go another tile back. So we're going to just get rid of a whole bunch of stuff here. We're going to be experimenting just a bit. So let's see if that is 2 tiles. I don't think that it is. Yeah, that's not enough. So it's right in between those last 2 locations. So we'll put the grid on as our guide. That wasn't quite straight, but it worked. So now my bigger concern is making a connection into this road. That is ugly. Just go straight across, and that is a terrible street, but it's the exact street that we need. So we're going to go with it. And then we'll bring our zoning back here. Okay, so what we're going to do here is take this route, send it in here, and separate these, because it's just not working to have them together. So let's see if this does the trick. Okay, and you can see all of those people streaming out, streaming back to over here. Wow, that is crazy. That is wild. Yeah, I've got to take a look at that. Wow, look at all of those people. Just now, that's our problem right there. Wow. Wow. How are we gonna fix that? That is, yeah. I'm hoping that this does the trick, because that is a pretty intense number of people. It's unfortunate. I thought they'd be able to walk through this center. They're walking around the block. You know, in reality, too, people aren't going to respect that in the same way. Let's hop back in here. We'll take a look, and I'm very curious at this point. Ooh. Oh. We still got this, but they're waiting for each other now. They're not waiting for that green line to pass. So it's all of those conflict points between the routes that cause things that, and then they got to, the AI's got to think like, who gets to go first? That's the same thing you'd have in the reality, who gets to go first? At least now it's one route, a nicely choreographed pop in, pop out, pop in, pop out. And now you see that number finally starting to fall. Lots of pedestrian activity now, and I hate to have a system that relies so much on walking between transfers, but this is the way that the game handles it. And you start to see overcrowding. First of all, there's a lot of pedestrian activity in the game, which I love, but it in some cases, in lower density areas, you just wouldn't have this level of pedestrianism. So there's that. And then the other thing is the utilization of transit. It's very rigid in here. There's a crush capacity to every sort of transit vehicle. And if you've ever ridden transit, you know that people don't want to get past. So they will jam themselves into a vehicle and make it work. And that's something that this game doesn't account for at all. And the numbers are just way too low. You'd add another train cart onto the metro to make it work. You do something, you start to accommodate for the traffic that you're seeing here. Now, that said, some of what we're seeing right here, it's clearing out old passenger trips. Some of it is just our utilization here now is just through the roof. As we've improved our lines, made them more logical, our utilization's just, it's really exploded. There's nothing that we can do to increase the number of cars going here, so we're just relying on this getting better over time. And I think it's going to. You see the number going in the right direction. I'm going to give this another couple minutes and see if it clears. I think that we've done it though. So let's let this sit for a second. Okay, this is not perfect, but it is perfectly acceptable. We're starting to see our numbers get to a rational spot. These are the two ends. Oh, it's not the two ends. So these are these two stops here. I don't know why there are so many people getting on here, but apparently they want to get from here to here and transfer somewhere else. So the numbers are in a logical spot. 8,500 resident trips per week, 3,600 tourism trips per week. I'm going to see if I can find that overlay from earlier and pop it up here. Yeah, we can see what the difference is. It's pretty impressive. So I feel good about this, and you can see that this has actually helped out a number of modes. Everything from buses, we've got a ton of bus trips. We've got a ton of train trips at this point. The Mulligan line looking good. Looking very good, very clear. We look at our trips over here. This has actually increased the number of trips that we have coming from Sterling Estates, which is wild. Those are all doing fine. There's no conflicts there. This is because it's one route that's just kind of going down and pinging back and forth. Not many places to have conflicts. And then we can take a look at our other routes, the conservation line. That's our little one that we have here, finally clearing up. Airport Hamilton. We've got one stop that is having a little bit of pass up. So we will add a couple of vehicles on. That should resolve everything. But the Airport Hamilton line, that's going all the way out to the airport. And at this point, you can see that it goes from here all the way to here, and then it loops back around and gets all the way over to this transfer terminal in the Meadow District, and it's working just fine. And that's because it's not being relied on in the same way that it was. Very few stops coming from the airport to downtown. And now it is a short route in the city. So it could be used probably for local passenger trips or people from Sterling Estates getting to the airport. So you could go a long ways on transit now. We're almost up to 9,000 for resident trips. I think we've done some good work here today. I really do. I think that we've improved transit in the city. Unfortunately, there we are with our traffic flow again, 85. We're in a great spot. I love this. I think that we've done some good things. Our money situation's back where we started. So to do all that work, to increase our transit trips by, almost 2,000 resident trips a week, and our traffic flow up to 86%. We've done good work today. I do want to leave you with something though, and that is a brief city tour. Okay, so I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit the like button. If you aren't subscribed, please consider doing so, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.